What's going on, Knicks fans? Welcome to another edition of Knicks Latest, your go-to YouTube channel for everything New York Knicks basketball, rumors, headlines, trades, scores, everything New York Knicks basketball here on this channel at Knicks Latest. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I do take your comments. I do answer your questions. I do respond to your comments. If you look at past videos, previous episodes, you see me responding to things that you have said in response to what I said, questions you have asked, all that good stuff. We're trying to build a community here of Knicks fans, objective, hardcore Knicks fans who are looking forward to the most anticipated New York Knicks basketball season since the 1990s, since the Ewing era. This is a season where the Knicks can actually win the NBA championship, a season in which people will be predicting the Knicks to win the NBA championship, predicting the Knicks to win the Eastern Conference, legit title contenders. It is a golden age of New York Knicks basketball. We want to get as many Knicks fans as possible. So make sure you like the video. Make sure you drop a comment. Let's get to it. The Knicks have arrived in Abu Dhabi to play 2 games against the Philadelphia 76ers, and I could not be more excited about this. Basketball is finally here. Now, of course, it's the preseason, so whether or not the Knicks win or lose is irrelevant here. Obviously, you want to see players play well. Obviously, you want to see, the Knicks win, but at the end of the day, that's not the most important thing here. To me, the most important thing here is process, right? Process over results. And what I mean by that is, what type of sets is Mike Brown running? When we have Jalen Brunson in the game at the same time as Karl-Anthony Towns, if we do see that, what does that look like? What does Jalen Brunson off the ball look like? Who brings up the ball? Who is initiating offense if Jalen Brunson's off the ball? What type of sets are we running? What type of hub is Karl-Anthony Towns going to be? How much motion is going to be involved in this offense? Also, how fast are the Knicks going to play? Are we going to see an intention of the New York Knicks picking up the pace, running off of misses, running off of makes? What does that look like? What does our secondary break look like? On the opposite end of the ball, is Karl-Anthony Towns trapping off pick and rolls? Is he dropping off pick and rolls? What is he doing there? What does the pick and roll coverage look like? Are they going to be more aggressive in pick and rolls? These are all these things that I'm looking forward to, because to me, that's the most important thing here. The bench, what does the rotation look like? What do the lineups look like? Can Deuce McBride, Jordan Clarkson, and Malcolm Brogdon play at the same time? Is someone going to have to be sacrificed there? What does that look like? Is Huck Porty going to get backup minutes? How many minutes is Huck Porty going to get? What does that look like? How does Mike Brown utilize him, and what does he think of Huck Porty? Is he going to be the backup center? There are a lot of things going into the preseason, a lot of questions that I think can be answered. Now, the starting lineup question, I'm not sure if that can be answered. Obviously, there's going to be a starting lineup. It might be, it may not be, the original or regular starting five that's going to happen throughout the regular season, but that's going to be interesting to see. I don't think we're going to see any type of real rotation here. We're not going to see how minutes are distributed. I think it's just going to be very random. A lot of mix matching with lineups, seeing who can play with who Mike Brown feels comfortable with. Tyler Kolek's another thing here I'm looking out for. Is he somebody who's going to play his way onto the team, or is Mike Brown and company going to look at him and say, you know what, we could expend him to open up, room for a Landry Shamet and have Malcolm Brogdon at the same time? Is a Garrison Matthews going to make the team? Something of that nature. This is what preseason's for. Obviously, you want to win the games. Obviously, you want to see our best players show out and play well. But at the same time, process is more important than results here. So that is what I'm looking forward to. The 76ers themselves, they have a lot of questions. Don't know what that's going to look like as far as Embiid playing, Paul George playing, all that good stuff. Not really worried about them. Just want to see what Mike Brown as a head coach looks like. To me, that is the most important thing going into the first game in Abu Dhabi, and honestly in the preseason as well. Results don't really matter here. It's what process looks like and what do we look like when we are in these sets. What can we look forward to heading in to the regular season? I want to know what you are looking forward to the most. What preseason battle are you looking for? Is it Shamet versus Brogdon? Do you think that's even a battle? Is it Huck Porty playing backup center? Is it Jalen Brunson off the ball? Is it Karl-Anthony Towns in the pick and roll? What are you focusing on in the preseason as a Knicks fan? What is the most important thing in your mind that you're watching as a Knicks fan going into these 2 preseason games in Abu Dhabi? Now, there wasn't a lot of news to report this week at all, or today. The preseason's underway. Yesterday was media day, and RJ Barrett took a shot at the New York Knicks, which I didn't appreciate. I'm sure you didn't appreciate it, Will. He said, "We don't have egos over here. Everybody wants to win. I've been on teams where the ball doesn't move, then nothing happens after that. Nobody cares. Every man for themselves." RJ, how dare you, RJ? You were a part of that, RJ. You too, RJ. That's okay. Listen, I think when you hear the kids speak about their times in New York, they wish they had a bigger role. They wish they could have contributed more. I mean, he's not the first player to come out and say things like this. I mean, heck, Josh Hart came out and said this. And because he's Josh Hart and Tibbs' favorite player, and he stayed on the team and he was able to thrive. But when Quentin Grimes said it, he gets shipped out and moved to Detroit. The kids always had a problem. Let's just be honest here. And I'm not saying I'm not happy the kids are gone. I love the kids. Soft spot in my heart for the kids, but they had to be moved. RJ and quickly they had to go. We now have OG Anunoby, who's one of the better defenders and 3D players in the league, and I don't think the Knicks are championship contenders without OG Anunoby. But it does go to show you, that things weren't all sunshine and rainbows when this team was making strides towards being contenders. With Julius Randle on the team, even though they beat the Cavs in 5, they lost to the Heat in 6, and a lot of drama surrounding that. Obi and Tibbs getting into it, and Obi being traded in the offseason. Quickly has made comments about not knowing when to shoot the basketball. Quentin Grimes, like I said, made the same comments as Josh Hart, except he didn't get away with it because he's not Josh Hart. RJ Barrett now saying these type of things. The kids obviously had a problem with the way that things were going, and I do think Tom Thibodeau's coaching style and coaching philosophy on the offensive end had something to do with that as well, mixed with Julius Randle and the type of player he is. So, as fun as that era was, kind of glad we're past it now. It was a very necessary era, but it was not an era that was going to lead to an NBA championship. I think we have now evolved and we have moved forward into a new era in which the Knicks should be contenders, in which they can win the NBA championship. And although RJ Barrett and his services were welcome here at the New York Knicks, number 3 draft pick, played well, once a Knick, always a Knick, I do think it was necessary to get rid of him and the rest of the kids to be the team that we are today. It just is what it is. Now, I can understand why he's salty. He's obviously trying to big up his team, and he's trying to hype up his team, and he's trying to make light of his team and saying how he's excited for this year. At the end of the day, they're still the Toronto Raptors this year, and they're not going to make any noise whatsoever. I'd be shocked if the Raptors do anything past making into the playoffs. I do think they're a sleeper team to get back into the playoffs, like 7-8 seed. I think it's possible, especially this year in the East where there are a lot of superstars who are injured and everything seems to be wide open. It wouldn't surprise me if the Raptors make the playoffs. But at the end of the day, they are nowhere near our level. It is what it is. RJ, I wish you well in Toronto. Keep your name out of our mouth, though. All right, last but not least, this is a topic I don't really like hitting on, but I feel like I have to hit on it because there are Knicks fans who want to talk about it. Believe it or not, and there are some Knicks fans who mention this every once in a while, and that's Giannis coming to the Knicks. Now, ESPN reported that Shams' reporting on him wanting out of Milwaukee or looking elsewhere. I wouldn't say wanting out of Milwaukee. That's probably the wrong terminology, but possibly wanting to switch teams, that was true. Giannis did not attend media day in Milwaukee because he has COVID and he's still in Greece, but he did say on the Zoom call that he just wants to win. And he will do whatever it takes to win. If that means he has to go somewhere else, then he'll have to go somewhere else. Now, of course, that perks the ear ups of a bunch of people in the media, a lot of people, New York media, and a lot of Knicks fans, because a lot of people see the Knicks as the prime time destination for Giannis Antetokounmpo if he decides to leave Milwaukee. Now, for me, obviously, that's an interesting thing to talk about during the offseason, maybe when the season first ends and free agency hasn't hit and, trades can happen, all that good stuff. But we are now entering the preseason. I know we had the Karl-Anthony Towns trade late last year, but I do think going into this year, the Knicks are very content with the rotation, with the roster that they have. And yeah, I'm going to have to report on it whenever Giannis says something that alludes to the Knicks being a contender for his services next year, whatever. I might have to talk about it, but I don't want to talk about it. And I don't want Giannis here. And I'm sure a lot of you don't want Giannis here either. The Knicks have a core right now that I think they can move forward with and win the NBA title with. And here we are talking about possibly breaking up that core for Giannis to come in and having to change the way we play and everything else. It just doesn't make any sense. And it doesn't make any sense for Leon Rose and company to entertain any of this. Now, obviously, this is not Leon Rose and company making the news. This is Giannis making the news, so they have nothing to do with this. But I do hope that this goes in one ear, out the other. They don't pay attention to it, and we don't hear about Giannis for the remainder of the season coming to the Knicks. Anytime I hear about Giannis Antetokounmpo going forward, I want to hear about him in the Milwaukee Bucks and what they're doing. That's it. Period. Giannis coming to the Knicks is not of my concern. I don't want it. Don't need it. We'll talk about it next year, depending how this season goes. But right now, just want to stay focused on the 2025-2026 roster that we have right now and going forward with winning the Eastern Conference and competing for an NBA championship. Don't like this story at all. Also don't like the LeBron stuff. Every time they try to throw LeBron James in the trade machine and send him over to New York, it's a waste of time. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen right now. And anytime this comes up and anytime I feel like I have to report on it because there are Knicks fans who want to hear it, I'm going to tell you it's a waste of time. And that's what the segment's going to be. Giannis to the Knicks? No, not happening. Don't want it. Next. That's what it is. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of Knicks Latest. Like I said, make sure you subscribe, drop a comment below. I especially want to hear what you think about the preseason and what processes you want to see from the New York Knicks. I want to know what sets you want to see. I want to know how you want Cat to play off the pick and roll. Do you want the trap? Do you want to see drop? I don't want to see drop coverage every end of my life at Karl Anthony Towns. But that's just me. So let me know in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe. Catch you later for another episode of Knicks Latest. Base.